Hey everyone, and welcome to What Did I Miss? Where today I have some encouraging news about the next movie in the Star Trek franchise. This news comes to us from the Viacom CBS Investor Day conducted by Paramount Pictures President and CEO Brian Robbins, where several announcements were made concerning the future of the company's many intellectual properties. But Paramount has been adamant for the past few years that Star Trek is their largest and most important property, and today's news would seem to back that up. As in addition to the 5 Star Trek series currently airing on the network and filming new content as we speak, as well as the many new series in development, the company also provided a major update on the next Star Trek movie. If you're wondering about the new crop of series that the company is planning on developing in the future, I did a video about that story that I will link here and in the description if you would like to check that out. However, this video is about the new movie, and I will go over all the details released here, as well as what I think the movie will be about, which could be the culmination of a massive crossover event. But before I get into all of that, I wanted to thank you for clicking on this video and ask that if you do enjoy the content, please help support us by hitting that like button. If you want to be kept up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so that YouTube lets you know when my new videos come out. The story to make another film in the Star Trek franchise has been a surprisingly difficult one since the release of the last film, Star Trek Beyond, in 2016. Various projects had been announced and then seemingly dropped, with the poor reception of the movie, which actually lost money for the company, as well as the global health crisis being blamed. Also, the original planned sequel to Beyond would have seen Chris Pine's Captain Kirk travel back in time to visit his father, who was played by an actor who was not very well known at the time of his casting, Chris Hemsworth. Well, the movie world has been pretty good to Chris Hemsworth since his appearance as George Kirk, as he has now played the role of Thor for the MCU in at least 7 movies and has a new one set to come out this year. Even so, Paramount reportedly tried to get Mr. Hemsworth to reprise his role in the sequel, but he eventually turned it down, possibly due to his commitment to the MCU. When this came to pass, it was thought that perhaps we would never see another Star Trek movie with the cast of the Kelvin universe. But in the last year, 2 movie projects were reported to be in the works, and then surprisingly, a 2022 release date was announced for the next Star Trek movie. This date was eventually pushed back to 2023, and it was later revealed that the movie attached to this release date would be produced by J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot Studios, the same studio that produced the last 3 Star Trek movies. This movie is set to be directed by Matt Shakman, who is fresh off directing the series WandaVision for Disney, which has amassed a staggering 23 Emmy nominations for its only season. The hiring of Shakman was reported to be a big get for Paramount, as virtually every other studio were trying to hire him, as he is currently one of the most in-demand new creators in the genre. It was also revealed at the event that Mr. Shakman has been supervising a script by Josh Friedman and Cameron Squires, based off a draft by Lindsay Beer and Geneva Robertson Duarte. These names might not mean much to you now, but these are all writers that are in high demand currently, especially when it comes to science fiction, as Josh Friedman is currently working as an executive producer on the Apple series The Foundation. Cameron Squires was also a writer on WandaVision. Lindsay Beer worked on the movie Chaos Walking and is writing a Pet Sematary movie, and finally Geneva Robertson Duarte wrote the screenplay for the MCU blockbuster Captain Marvel, among other things. Hiring a team of in-demand creators for the project is a big sign of how much this film means to Paramount, and it's obvious that after years of tinkering with different ideas for a new movie, that the company is now moving in one direction together. Besides the release date and the creative team behind this new movie, we had not heard anything about the direction of the story, with rumors flying about which cast members would return, if any. Well, now we know what the plan is, as it was announced that this new movie would see the return of Chris Pine and the rest of the main cast from the J.J. Abrams movies. It is important to note that in the official announcement, the CEO of Paramount Pictures stated that the cast was in negotiations to return and that they have not officially signed on the dotted line as of yet. But given how long it has taken this movie to get off the ground, I find it hard to believe that the CEO of Paramount would make this announcement if the company did not have a pretty good idea that the cast would be returning. It is quite possible that Chris Pine, who plays Captain James Tiberius Kirk, has already been signed on, but that other cast members have not yet, so it's not possible to formally announce the full cast return. Various cast members like Zach Quinto and Simon Pegg have expressed their desire to return in recent years, so it's very likely that they would be anxious to come back. One cast member is currently very busy working on 2 sequels to another sci-fi blockbuster movie, Avatar, and that is Zoe Saldana, who plays Nyota Uhura. There have been rumors that her schedule may be what is holding up the production, since her commitment to Avatar supersedes her commitment to Star Trek. But with this announcement, the CEO stated that this movie is set to begin filming by the end of the year 2022, which would line up with when Ms. Saldana is set to be done filming her scenes for the Avatar sequels. With the announcement of the Kelvin Universe cast returning, it was also revealed at the presentation that this cast would be interacting with new characters in the film. Now, I've already seen online that many have guessed that this means that the company will be trying to introduce a new crew, possibly to take over for the current crew of the Enterprise, as all these actors are now in much greater demand than they were when they first started in the Star Trek reboot in 2009. But I don't think that this is necessarily the case, and instead I think that this is another clue that this movie will see the cast interact with established characters from various series in the Star Trek franchise. There have been many not so subtle hints that Star Trek is heading towards a large crossover event, and even Alex Kurtzman has admitted that a crossover between these characters is inevitable. Before you say to yourself that this plan is too ambitious, remember that Star Trek has pulled off crossover events before, as that was basically what the movie Star Trek Generations was, as well as the Deep Space Nine episode Trials and Tribulations. Heck, even the series Deep Space Nine and Voyager began with those crews interacting with crews from other series. Not to mention that crossover events are very common in pop culture right now, with the recent Spider-Man sequel using a plotline based around characters from different movies interacting with each other and going on to become one of the most popular movies ever, and possibly even being responsible for a surge in people getting COVID. So while the crossover is very popular right now, Star Trek was once again the pioneer of this plot device. Another plot device that Star Trek has been using since the original series is the concept of there being multiple universes, with the mirror universe being the most popular example. The new series Discovery has delved into the mirror universe quite a bit, and even had a character that originated from an alternate universe join their cast for some time in Philippa Georgiou. The series also substantiated the fact that there are multiple alternate universes besides the mirror version, and even mentioned the Kelvin universe in an episode in the show's third season. Next month, in March of 2022, the second season of the series Picard will begin, and while we obviously don't know anything about the story yet, we do know that it deals with the cast returning to the past to fix an alternate timeline. As you can see, the franchise has been working towards this point for years, and I truly believe that it will lead to the cast in the movie interacting with cast members from the series, past and present. William Shatner has been trying to get back into Star Trek since the last time we saw him in Generations, and was reportedly in line to return in the unmade sequel that would have starred Chris Hemsworth. Let's also not forget that the new series Strange New Worlds, which is set to air later in 2022, also contains the characters Spock and Uhura, two characters that are also present in the new Kelvin Universe cast. Having these characters interact with characters in the Kelvin timeline may be a way for the franchise to pass the baton from that cast to the cast members on Strange New Worlds, which would ultimately lead to other members of the Enterprise crew being recast with younger actors in the future. As I stated, each member of the Kelvin timeline cast is very busy, so I'm sure that if possible, Paramount would like to send these characters off while also propagating their shared narrative with new cast additions that have connections to these past characters. Also, each of the creators I mentioned earlier has recent experience working within the concept of alternate universes, with WandaVision basically kicking off the multiverse storyline that is currently set to end in the upcoming Doctor Strange movie. So this type of plotline really makes sense if you consider the people that Paramount has hired to produce it as well. All these things together lead me to believe that this is the case. But let me know in the comments, do you think we will see a movie about the Star Trek multiverse that contains members from different casts? Well, that is everything I have today, but let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. Please hit that like button if you have enjoyed it, and I will see you next time on What Did I Miss?